So I have a new pitch. This is an old idea that I didn't have much for, and I do remember you hated it. I think you're probably indifferent. Have you guys ever seen Mr. Holland's Opus?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I saw it in the
No, I never
90s, maybe.
saw it.
That's the Richard. So this is like a complete ripoff of that. So it's basically like you could just call it Mr. Holland's Opus. But remember, like way back, I met that guy Clarence Gilliard, who was like Walker Texas Ranger.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Like-
yeah. Okay.
like,
yeah. And then you were like in Brazil, right? You
Yeah,
remember?
and he's like a really religious guy. He's a nice guy. And I was younger, and I was like, I want to make a movie with you. And he was like, don't play with me. And he was like being really nice. And I was like, no, I'm going to do it. So this is it's called Clarence Gilliard's Opus. So the basic gist is there is, and this actually could just be a woman too. It doesn't really matter. But so there's a music teacher. So the film opens on Mr. Gilliard playing like this classical piano piece, and he suddenly like gets a pain in his side, and he goes to the doctor and finds out he has cancer, and he basically has their like best prognosis is maybe, is that the right word, prognosis?
Yes.
Maybe 2 years basically. I think he has a wife and family, and basically the beginning is he I have some notes here. So basically he decides to see this year out as if it were it's the beginning of the school year already. He doesn't want his life to like drastically be upended by a cancer diagnosis, so he's like, I'm just gonna teach. That's what I'm gonna do. So we in school we meet the new principal, who is kind of a douchebag and like totally a slave to the whatever the new rules are, the system, and so there's been a lot of like funding cuts and stuff like that.
Principal role for sure.
So the principal is pretty much the villain role, and that'll kind of come up a little bit. It's not like a major. So I should have said earlier, this is kind of like the idea is like Freedom Writers or
Okay.
Stand and
How do I
Deliver.
reach these keys?
Stand and Deliver.
Freedom Writers is Hillary Swank.
Yes, meets. There was this movie. I really didn't like the movie, but I think
Stand and Deliver. Yeah.
I saw this one in theaters. I think it made a boatload of money. It was based on a true story. This kid like falls through the ice. It's like kind of one of those religious movies.
Oh, the one that you got a movie ticket for, and then you went and saw it, and it was terrible.
Yeah, I really didn't like
Breakthrough.
it. Breakthrough. Yeah. I liked all the actors. I liked all the acting. I think it was like a good story. I just knew I knew there was an audience there. I didn't like the movie so much, but that would be a comparable so that's the type of movie it is. Also like meets any competition type show movie like Pitch Perfect or Karate Kid or whatever, that anything with that in it. So then we find out, these are all just like things you find out as this plot's getting set up. He won the New Jersey State or whatever state, I don't care, high school orchestra competition in like 2004. So he had this like really winning orchestra at one point, and now the program has gone to absolute shit. And that's like from funding cuts and stuff. So band, it does happen in school. It's an elective, but it's meant to be like.
Was he the teacher at 2004?
Yeah,
when they won?
He's been teaching there like 20 years.
Oh, okay.
And it's an elective. It's a really small class, and it's sort of a special project. You're meant to compete if you go to this class. They sort of had that for us for drama. It was like you're in drama class, but if you want to do the state competition, you can start practicing for it and work on that in class. So we also find out that he's kind of a control freak, and he's sort of an asshole as a conductor. He's like very
Whiplash?
Yeah. I mean, he's not like, it's not obviously to that extent at all,
No,
but he just doesn't like mistakes. He doesn't like things being different. So here's where we introduce So I don't have like an exact plot driver there, but it's the principal is going to tell him something like, if you don't do this, then this is going to happen. You know, there's going to be some kind of bomb planted there. I just don't know what it is. Then we meet this girl, Katiana, who is a natural musician, but she's very troubled youth because she's dyslexic.
What's her name?
Katiana, Katyana, Yana, something like that. Yeah. She's a natural musician, but and I think he kind of just like hears something, and then he sees her like going to all the different instruments, and she just, you know, I think one of those kids that like she has
a musical.
No, it's not a musical. I promise you, it has music. It has musical elements.
Okay.
It's Mr. Holland's Opus. It's not like
I know that, but I mean, I'm
There's-
now foreseeing this being a musical.
it's a musical, but not with singing. It's not like a.
Are all of your plots in high school, and do they all have the same characters?
And then they're all musicals.
I have to get something out of my system, I think, is what it is. Yes, I have.
I was actually kind of excited that you were like, I have a new idea, and then you went backwards.
I didn't go backwards. I think I went to. Well, no, I did go backwards. That's fair. I think I came up with an actual ending for.
You've been on the ending streak for
Yeah,
sure. And
because,
before it
you
used
know,
to be
I don't
like
have endings, is
before
my
it used to
problem.
be like, there's a girl,
Yeah.
summer in the woods, and it's the
Like-
woods, and her
And
mom's a heroin
and she's
addict,
in the woods,
and I'm like,
and
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the same.
Yeah.
I can
No,
name
no,
four-
there's multiple.
I have like 4 plots that are just that. It's like
Yeah.
it's a girl, her mom's a heroin addict, and they live near the woods.
Oh,
Everyone
and
loves
they,
that.
And they play music.
Yeah. Oh, and they sing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like when we had one intern at a lunch on set, and he was like, "Yo, I got a great idea. UPS driver with someone new, and they're like dropping boxes off. Like, imagine the conversations they have." And I'm like,
But then I think it also evolved into like the driver gets bit by a dog, and then
And
the
turns
dog
into
the
a dog.
and the dog turns into a UPS driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a body switch. That's a
Oh,
great
wait,
idea.
hold up.
Yeah, it's a great
Yeah.
idea.
That is a really
The
good
dog
idea.
is a UPS delivery dog guy.
Like he kind of, I think, riffed
The
on
delivery
that
guy is a
later,
dog.
but he didn't dive into that. But he did kind of.
Oh,
like
he came up with that while we were listening, and he was like, "Oh shit, I shouldn't say anymore." Like,
Yeah.
I'm on to
He
something.
shut up
That's what he
about
thinks.
it, and
Okay.
then he was like, he kind of like sulked in the corner. I think he got up and got like a drink or something.
to call his agent.
Well, so to answer your question, I seem to have a sweet spot for troubled youths in a high school setting with some sort of music happening around them. But you know what? We all have our thing. I would say you've got a lot of Danny McBride stuff.
I have a
it's
lot of Danny
everything,
McBride
yeah.
stuff.
That's put together.
But that like maybe the argument could be made like that actually sells. But let me see, because Clarence Gilliard
okay.
is gonna like this. He's not gonna pay us any money for it, but he's like even like, oh, my name.
He might just text you that I
don't-
like this.
No, he doesn't have my number. He's gonna be like, I don't remember you. Please keep my name off your lips, because I heard your Darwinism idea.
That's true.
So-
we're going very opposite of that.
Katiana is dyslexic. She is having a hard time in school because she has to go to like sort of the special classes because she's not at the same like reading level and everything else. She's a fully functioning human being, but she's just kind of feeling like fuck school. So he shows up sort of early on, first day of school, sort of, and the vibe is like, I'd say it's probably like 12 to 15 kids in his class, and they're all sort of like, this is dumb. We don't like, maybe they played instruments as kids. I would say they're, you know, between freshmen and seniors because it's like a special elective, but they're all kind of like, fuck this. And they're all a different vibe or musical style. You know, I would say a majority of them like hip hop. There's like, say, like a hard rock, like dark rock kind of kid.
Mm-hmm.
And Katiana is
Heavy metal.
yeah, I think she is. So anyway, he's feeling, after his conversations with the principal and stuff, he's kind of feeling like, how do I reach these kids? And he's basically like, all right, how about we approach this a little differently this year? How about we do a little bit more of an independent study? If you know I don't know how we get here, but the idea is the class feels like he doesn't respect them, and he feels like the class doesn't respect him. So, and you know, like you can just rip that respect. You can rip that out of any of these types of movies. So he says, one for me, one for you. I'll listen to your music if you listen to my music. And I think they probably start with like Wet Ass Pussy or something like that. But like, you know, they start with a song that's like, you can't, he doesn't like it. So he starts learning.
He's never this open with his classes.
What's that? No, I never. He was all orchestral, classical. You know, and obviously, like, I think probably the pops, like the type of stuff that like high school bands play, but he's trying to be at a different level. So, you know, I would say I don't know enough about music to make this accurate, but like probably like Mozart, Bach kind of stuff is what he wants them to play.
Wow. You went really bland with the Mozart, Bach. Those are the two classical pianists.
That's all I know, yeah. So
Beethoven,
the dog,
Yeah.
is in school, and his dog mom is a heroin addict.
So as he goes through the individual studies with them, it's sort of like a fun and games as he starts learning about new music and listening to, you know, like who's the guy that has the hamburger now at McDonald's, like Travis Scott or something like that. This is also like way too expensive of a movie to do from the music standpoint. You can't afford all these songs.
Oh, that's true.
But that's not my problem. He starts
That's
to learn what
Gilliard's
they
problem.
like. And yeah, that's Clarence Gilliard's problem. He finds one kid who likes hip hop production. He likes like recording and sampling and stuff like that. And this is the Pitch Perfect plot that's basically ripped, which is basically like this kid can actually take what you like and what I like, and he can put them together. So he gives him a new assignment toward the end of the fun and games. That's like, pick your favorite song for right now, but perform it on your instrument. You know, do an arrangement for me on your instrument. And they're finally actually into this music class. It's what they really care about at this point. And they all come in on that day and they're excited, and he doesn't show up because his illness is progressing. So at this point, the school finds out, the principal finds out, and the principal's like, this is a liability. You can't be in school.
So I'm sorry, this is like midpoint.
It's pretty close. Yeah, I would say it's around the midpoint. Yeah, that's fair enough.
So midpoint, they finally are getting along.
Yes. And then they all find out he's, you know, basically gravely ill. And he doesn't lose his job, but he's kind of pushed out. There's that little lull somewhere after the midpoint where like, and then also like as things start falling down, Katiana is actually failing and decides to just stop going to school. You know, she's like legitimately failing. She's like, fuck this. So I think Gilliard and Katiana have moments together outside of school. And ultimately what happens is the students and teachers band together to stand up for him, to bring him back, you know, let him finish his career the way he wants to. Don't, you know, that part is a little shaky because I don't know, like, would they actually be like, yo, you can't come in, but who knows how sick he is. So when he gets back, the kids surprise him with a mashup. They take his songs that he wants them to, you know, that they take his Bach and Beethoven, and they mix them with, you know, the stuff that they've been showing him, the hip hop and the hard rock, and he's, you know, totally moved by it. And, you know, after they perform it, he's like, why don't we just throw out the book this year? Forget everything I said. Forget about all this. Let's just make this year about what we want to do and how we feel. And he gets then he gets the members of the band individually to help Katiana with the things that she's specifically failing at. So he keeps Katiana in school.
Members of band together.
Yeah, they band together. And he gives, so, and then sort of around this point, as it starts to rise up again from all being lost, he gives Katiana a piano. and kind of, you know, there's this mentor moment. So the whole third act is basically the day of the tournament. You know, so it's any of those, Karate Kid or all this, you know, so you already know how this plays out, but basically they perform something. It's all these classical musician, you know, classical pieces or arrangements that all the schools around New Jersey have prepared, and he shows up with like the ragtag band, and they play like a hip hop, rock and roll Bach mashup or something, and it stirs the pot a little bit. You know, it's cool. It's like, and it's fun for the audience to, you know, I think the arrangements would be cool. If you had an
arrangements would be really cool.
So then, and I think I'm probably glazing over that a little bit too much, because it is sort of a musical in that way. You know, it would be like maybe 2 minutes to 4 minutes of actual performance. And then, so, you know, he's very proud. There's that moment. They get like 4th place. They don't win, but he's kind of like, I don't care. And then he collapses like in the hallway or something, you know, right there. So the movie ends basically in the hospital. He kind of comes to, he's with his wife, and it's clearly the end of his life. They're sort of like, you know, we're sort of nearing hospice with how things are progressing right now. So they start to push him. His wife is like, hey, I want to take you somewhere. She starts pushing him like through the halls of the hospital, and all of the students he had, like from 2000, like 1990s, like they all have an instrument out and like lining the hallways, and they're all playing as they push him toward like the main entrance. And in the main entrance
through a window,
they push him. This is where they kill Clarence Gilliard. They push him to the end in this big atrium, and it's the current students with Katiana like on piano, and they play I think probably the song he originally wanted them to play. I think somewhere in there we plant and pay off that like there is something special. This is the song he won with. This is the song he went to school with, whatever it is.
But it's old.
It's old,
man.
And so they all play that. That's kind of the moment, you know, that's the swell for the audience. You know, that's really the climax, not so much the high school tournament thing. And the denouement, I don't know exactly how you show it, but he's definitely gonna die. I don't know, like, if he dies in the movie or if you just sort of know. That's where he dies. That's it. It's like,
I'm dead.
I'm never gonna make it past this moment. It's the best.
I love this song.
We find out that Katiana was given a full ride to like a special school for kind of like those pre-college things. Like there's that Socrates school we've been talking about up north. Like maybe it's not just a music school, but like they have a great music program, but they understand that people don't learn the same ways. And then I think the closing image is her on piano playing the same song that he played at the opening image when his like side was, you know, whatever that song is. It's you know, the torch has been passed basically. And that's what I have. There's like a lot missing, obviously plot wise, like what's driving things from the principal's perspective and things like that, but that would be the basic gist.
I like it. I feel
like the episode could actually just end there. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, wah, wah.
See ya.